who are. I want to quickly talk about this meme, make a brief video about it. I found this on Facebook. It's from a father's rights group. It's got 219 upvotes. What does this meme say about the mindset of the man who posted it and the men who are approving of it? It says to me that men are willing to grovel and point to their male utility to earn something that should be seen as a fundamental human right. Motherhood is sacred, okay? Motherhood is sacred. Mothers don't have to earn a right to have a relationship with their kids. Mothers feel entitled to have a relationship with their kids. Good enough to jump into combat, good enough to be a father of his kids. In fact, I don't even see how this is relevant to father's rights. Okay? Good enough to sign up for or misandrist wars, good enough to have a relationship with his kids. That's what it's basically saying. Good, obedient, compliant men willing to kill other men to earn approval of a state that doesn't give a shit about them. That's what it says to me. And it's deeply disgusting. I find this sort of grovelling repulsive. I can't put it in any other terms, to be honest. Motherhood is sacred. Fatherhood has to be earned. That's the problem. Men are actually emotionally submissive. What is the military when you think about it? These macho, hyper-masculine men, rough and tough, are actually slaves. They're being bossed and ordered about in a hierarchy. When you join a hierarchy, it means you're willing to be bossed about and you lose your autonomy. These men are naturally submissive. Fathers are naturally submissive to mothers. Actually, this is where the family court system actually comes from. The social attitudes. I believe it comes from male submission. Right? Men are very submissive to women in relationships. There's plenty of stories about fathers or husbands getting kicked out of their own home, even before divorce laws and domestic violence policing came in. There's many stories of women kicking their partners out. John Lennon was kicked out of his own home by Yoko Ono. Brock Lesnar was kicked out of his home by Sable. And Brock Lesnar's a 280-pound beast. Okay? Men are submissive to women emotionally. These tradcon white knight judges who set up the family court system, okay, they're giving women what they want because they're submissive to women. When there's cases of women refusing visitation orders and these submissive judges refuse to punish the women who break the law. And trust me, most judges, they get furious, absolutely furious when you piss them about for even petty things. And they're willing to put you in jail. Okay? Absolutely furious. But a woman who messes the court system about, there's been many cases of judges refusing to enforce the visitation orders. They're submissive. Men are submissive in relationships with women. This means submissive. It's the one good man syndrome. I'm a good man. I'm willing to inflict violence on other men. Fighting misandrist wars. Be compliant. Let me tell you something. If you're going to try grovelling by pointing to your male utility, it's not going to work. Look at history. Okay, the serfs or peasants who lived on the common land were useful to their feudal lords. Their feudal lords booted them off the land and helped kickstart the early capitalist industrial revolution. Okay? Or a corporation. When it's time to downsize, it doesn't matter how useful the employees were in the past, there's no sense of gratitude. The employees are fired. Women, Brift's law. When the man's no longer useful, the man's gone. There is no point grovelling by pointing to your utility. It doesn't work. Women do not respect it, and other men do not respect it. Men have to change their consciousness. They have to break this slave-minded paradigm. They're in a slave-minded paradigm. They can only think to grovel and beg and point to their utility, point to how useful they are. That has to end. Men have to feel just entitled to have a relationship with their children as mothers do. Motherhood is presumed, so does fatherhood have to be presumed. That fatherhood has to be seen as just as sacred as motherhood, just as important as motherhood. And it's never going to happen unless men change their consciousness. The legal system only stems from social attitudes, from society's social attitudes. And when you've got submissive fathers who give in to mothers, who don't fight, or only start fighting until it's too late, okay, that's just reinforcing gender roles, and it will lead to the next generation of submissive men. The cycle has to end. Good enough to jump into combat, good enough to be a father to his kids. No. No. Men are good enough to be fathers of their kids because they're innately good enough. Okay? Fathers, men are just as human as women. Women are not extra human. Men are not subhuman slaves.